This is modern homesteading.
Remember the 500 video contest? Buster, the winner, got his axe head to me. To refresh your memory, for those of you guys who are new, at my 500th video I offered to do a complete axe project for someone that had something special, and Buster had this, was a family axe, and sent it to me, and it's going to get the full treatment, which means a razor sharp polish, edge, all cleaned up, a custom made handle with my maker's mark, as well as a hand stitched leather sheath. So this is really nice. This is an axe that I would love to have. It's a Collins Legitimus in the Hudson Bay pattern. Pretty nice, huh? And in good shape. So I'm going to start by reprofiling the edge and putting an edge on it. And this is not going to be business as usual, as you've seen in the past. I have a new tool to show you, and we'll get started on that. But also, there's a couple things here I wanted to mention. You can see here on the pole that it's mushroomed. Someone unfortunately has used this to pound on a mallet or metal. A good axe should never be used to strike metal. A splitting maul or a sledge is fine. They're of a different metal, but never a nice tool like this. So I have to make the decision, because this thing has a nice patina on it, and if we correct that mushroom portion there, of course that's going to affect the patina. So I've thought long and hard about this, and I thought, well, what would you do if it was yours? I said, well, I would correct this. I would fix that and let the patina come back on its own, and so that's what I'm going to do. So we'll reprofile this, put it back to the way it should have been originally, and put a really nice edge on it, and then start to work on a custom made handle. The very best way you can grind an edge on a cutting tool is with a wet stone, like this one here. This is, I'm breaking this out. This is one of my treasures, one of my barn find treasures, this fantastic whetstone that runs an electric motor. I'll give you, I'm going to restore it, paint it and clean it up because it's worth doing, but I'll give you a quick tour. It's got, it's pretty old. It's got an old electric motor on it, and a really clever pulley system because it's got to turn at pretty low RPM. So this pulley here goes and rolls one, or drives another one on the other side, which rolls the stone. But the thing I really like about it is just the way it's built. It's got a stainless steel drum here with a drain on it that you fill full of water. And what's really cool is these heavy duty bearings. They've got these cool greasable caps on there. You can see right there, identical on both sides. The belts are going to need replacing, but those are just standard automotive belts. But if we take this off, I'll show you inside. This is quality here. This will last and last and last and last because these are greasable. You can see right there, you pack these little reservoirs here full of axle grease, and as it turns and as the bearing warms up, the grease gets thinner and runs down there and continues to lubricate it. And look how heavy duty, look at the shafts on it. The stone is in really good shape, and it's nice that it runs in a bath of water, so it's always always stays wet. So you're not going to draw the temper out of your blade with this. That's the difference. Using power tools on these is so dangerous because unless you have really mad skills, most guys are going to take the temper out of it and you're going to ruin your cutting edge. There's no chance of this with a whetstone because it's constantly cooled by the water and it just never gets hot. It's always cold. So that's a really nice addition to the homestead. That's something that I'm going to really enjoy and use a lot. So as you can see here, we've got the cutting edge. Very nice. I backed that relief edge way back. So this is because this is a pretty heavy, strong tip on this on this pattern. There was some real bad chipping in it, but we got all that out, and that's pretty good right there. You know, that's freehand. It's definitely on the extreme side. You know, you wouldn't want to get too much thinner than that, but I think it can take it because it's such a strong tip. It's such a heavy tip. Alright, now to this. I've got a couple options. This mushroom portion right here, I'm going to try to work the bulk of it off here on the stone, and then I'll take and hand file the rest of it. So let's get that sorted. So that's about as far as I want to go on the stone with these mushroomed ends. I'm going to work this in by hand. You know, this is a critical spot right here. We have that beautiful logo with the crown, the Legitimus logo, and I'm going to use a really nice Portuguese safe edge file here, a little 6-inch mill bastard file, and I'll work this down until I get it a nice kind of a little chamfer on there. As consistent as I can get all the way across. Now I'm putting my finger on the edge here to make sure that I don't go down, and if I one stroke across there and I ruin that patina, so I gotta be really careful with this and take my time. Files are made to cut one way in the forward direction, and so when you see me working this back and forth, it is not very good on a file, but these little files are pretty inexpensive and they're disposable. They're pretty much, I use them for one job. And so when you're doing this back and forth, the reason why I do that is it helps keep uniformity, helps keep your angle consistent, but what I'll do is on the backstroke I'll lighten up. I don't have very much pressure, so even though the file is grading across the back of the axe head, it's with very little pressure, and then when I initiate the forward stroke, that's when I put the pressure down. So the pole on this Legitimus was really mushroomed out, and that's about as far as I go. You know, this isn't mine, and you know, if it were mine, I'd probably do the same thing. But this will darken and patina over time. But I don't want to take any much more. I don't want to get into that beautiful little logo right there with the crown. I can tell from filing on this that this is really good steel. This is a nice little hatchet head, and I think it will look okay once we get it. We'll just leave it on there just like I did with my Sager chemical, because it's not rusty. We can clean up. Yeah, it's just fine. Just a little bit of pitting, but nothing big. So you can see from the water that the edge is starting to get that little bit of rust on it already. But this is as far as I'm going to go. I don't want it too sharp when I'm working on the handle. I'll put the finish edge and I'll do everything. I'll hand stone everything, and it'll be scary sharp. But this is it. I think it's ready for the handle. So let's go talk about that. See what we can come up with and what would be the best fit for this little Collins. All right, guys and girls, we have a decision to make here. An important decision. What type of a handle should we put on Buster's axe? You know, what I was thinking originally when I first saw the picture, and I kind of had an idea for the size, I was thinking, you know, I think I'm going to do something very similar to my Grand Force Brooks small forest axe. You can see right here, if we put these together, it's definitely got more weight in the pole. It's got a little more, definitely a little more heft to it, but very similar in design. much more bigger cutter. It's definitely a bigger axe. You know, we can put them this way here, and let's see, do that with the camera. You can kind of see there. But I do not think that this handle would be too small for it. And if we kind of lay that out there, you can kind of see, you know, it does look pretty proportioned. Maybe extend it by a couple inches. And also, you know, another thing that's kind of interesting is that this handle, here's a really nice handle. This is a vintage handle sent by a subscriber of mine. I don't have his permission to give his name. And we worked a trade. He gave me a beautiful 3 boxes of Simmons files that I'm using for filing my crosscut saws, in exchange for me building him an axe. And this was something, I think it belonged to his grandfather, if I remember, and he'd found it in his things, and he wants a really special axe on this. And I have been kind of carrying this around, and I like it. I don't know what it was about the old handles. I guess that the guys who designed them were probably using them, or at least they consulted people that actually use them, and so the designs are so superior. They're really good. I mean, this just feels so good in hand. I like this, but isn't that a neat handle? Unique. You know, definitely unique. It's not something that I've really seen before. So what I was also kind of thinking was maybe using this as a template and doing something, scale it up a little bit. You know, maybe just add a ½ inch to the girth and a couple inches to the length. But I like this, you know, and it seems to me that if you look at it, it really kind of lends itself well. I like this bump out there. It lends itself well with this axe style. Set that back there. You know, kind of envision this at about 80% scale. So we have, these are really the two options. So we have this one here. We have the Regina handle. There's a label there. Regina Hickory Handles, Bruner Ivory Handle Company, Hope, Arkansas, USA. Cool, huh? Perfect. Little baby palm swell there. So we've got the Regina, or, you know, the reason why I'm going with the Grand Force Brookser was considering it because this is the best axe handle ever that I've ever used. As far as a one-handed axe, it's perfection. It's absolute perfection. And what really does it is this here. It's not. I know it doesn't look very good, that little palm swell there, but as far as function and usability, it's perfection. So that's good too. But they're very different type of handles. So let's talk about it. What do you guys think? What do you think would be aesthetically and usable and usably, is that a word? Which handle do you prefer? We'll kind of put it to you guys, and maybe you can tip the scales. I really am not, don't have a preference either way right now. I could go either way. So tell me, which one do you think would be the best fit for Buster's Legitimus? And that's the one I'll go with. And before I close, many of you have asked about the custom handle pattern that I got from that beautiful axe handle in Montana. That is in the works, so I should have a downloadable file with all the dimensions on it here pretty soon. One of us, the subscribers, stepped up. I'll mention him in the future, and is going to do a rendering of it that we can all have access to. And I'm excited for that because I've got an axe head waiting for that handle as well. So that's it. So the next video we'll do the handle, and then the third we'll do the sheath and get this fine, beautiful little Legitimus back to its rightful owner, Buster. I need to remind you, now's the time. Click the thumbs up if you haven't already, because it's easy to forget. I know I do. Like to be reminded. Nice little axe, isn't it? Well, I'm really excited to get that wet grindstone. My granddad used to have one of those. I kicked myself. He had a treadle style that you ran with your feet. And that was sold at a garage sale. It was back in the day when I had no interest in nonsense like that, and how times have changed. So lots of cool stuff coming up. You know, we just went to a little convention put on by the Department of Natural Resources about biofuels and making biochar, and that's something that is really interesting to Mrs. Wranglerstar and I. So look for that in the future. And also we're just getting ready to put in a small vineyard, so we'll be putting in our grapes and all of the trestles. And, oh, there's so much going on. What else? The Mother Earth News Fair. That is a big deal up in Puyallup, Washington. That's going to be coming up in, I don't know, 6 weeks or so. Mrs. Wranglerstar, I'll do a video on that here pretty soon with a little bit more information. But we'll be up there in a big way and be having an opportunity to meet a lot of subscribers and friends and whoever is interested in that type of thing. It's worth going to. It's really great. We'll be up there for 2 days. So, what else? Did I mention the book? Am I supposed to mention the book? I better check with my attorney before I mention the book. We'll see you guys on the next video.